China, a word that appears in the news every day, but how much do you really know about it? As China's influence continues to grow, what kind of country is it? What is the nature of its global impact, and how might it shape the future of the world? There is no doubt that China is now the world's second most powerful country in terms of overall national strength. Equally important is China's historical legacy. It is the only ancient civilization in the world that has continued uninterrupted to this day. Why has China's civilization endured for thousands of years without interruption? What has sustained its continuous rule and cultural legacy? The word China originates from the Chinese character Qin, king. The Qin dynasty was the shortest in Chinese history, yet it had the most profound and lasting impact. In this episode, we will take you through the political system established by the Qin, a system that shaped Chinese governance for more than 2,000 years. In 361 BC, King Qin Shaogong of Qin issued a famous proclamation to attract talented and ambitious individuals from across the warring states to serve in Qin. He offered generous rewards, prestigious positions, and sincere intent to draw the best minds of the time. It was then that one of the most influential figures in Chinese history, Shen Yan, came before him. Their initial conversation was not particularly pleasant. King Shaogong wanted Shen Yan to provide strategies and reforms for strengthening the state. Shen Yan presented many proposals and policies, but none satisfied the king. Eventually, he proposed a bold reform strategy centered on the rule of law. This plan finally gained the king's approval. Later generations, for the sake of simplicity, referred to this system as the Qin system. The reforms of Shen Yan mark a bold and pivotal chapter in Chinese history. These reforms directly led to the birth of the Qin dynasty political system. Through 5 key steps, Shen Yan laid its foundation. First is centralized authority. Shen Yan implemented a system of private land ownership, abolishing the old well-field system controlled by the nobility. Land was redistributed to farmers and could be freely bought and sold, breaking the aristocracy's grip over both land and peasants. This reform strengthened the state's control over economic resources. He then proposed relocating the capital to Shenyang, closer to the Central Plains, to strengthen control over key strategic resources. This capital relocation strategy has been emulated by many countries even in modern times, such as Brazil's move to, and South Korea's development of Sejong City. In a state where the central authority holds absolute power, all resources, whether land, capital, population, or information, must ultimately serve the will of the state. Shen Yan enforced extremely strict laws with clear rewards and punishments. In addition to harsh penalties for crimes like theft and murder, even laziness and failure to farm the land were severely punished. People were organized into groups with designated leaders, and members were required to monitor one another. Anyone who failed to report a crime committed by others would be punished as well, a system of collective responsibility. Conversely, those who reported crimes were rewarded. To make people believe in the law, Shen Yan famously set up a wooden pole in the marketplace, promising a reward of 10 gold coins to anyone who moved it. When someone finally moved the pole, the reward was granted as promised, establishing the authority and credibility of the law. But this was not about building trust, it was about establishing dominance and absolute control over individuals. In such a system, the law was not designed to protect people's rights, but to dictate their behavior. Under the Qin system, the law was not a shield for the people, but rather an instruction manual specifying exactly what they must do. Shen Yan then established the military merit system, under which there were only 2 ways to gain social status and wealth: farming the land or joining the army and killing enemies to earn military merit. During the Hexi campaign, those who distinguished themselves in battle were immediately granted titles and land. the battlefield became the fastest route to advancement. Does this remind you of how today's society still views merchants? Or how technical skill is often valued more than capital in certain contexts? This utilitarian structure may still linger subtly even today. In the logic of the Qin system, the most despised were those who only used words: merchants, scholars, thinkers. Shan Yan implemented the system of collective punishment. If one person committed a crime, the entire family would be punished. Reporting on neighbors became a virtue, while strict household registration and unified labor conscription were enforced. From information, population, and movement to thought itself, the state used laws and institutions to construct a controlled society. Do today's systems, household registration, credit scoring, mass surveillance still carry echoes of the Qin system? Is this true order or an invisible cage? Shan Yan emphasized the principle of selecting talent based on merit. Abolishing hereditary privilege among the nobility, everyone could only rise through military achievements or productive labor. On the surface, this appeared to promote social fairness, but in reality, it created a single-track system of competition. People were only allowed to climb upward within the system itself, with no way to step outside and choose an alternative path in life. Imagine a university graduate from a public state-run school has their mind and worldview being permanently stamped with an ideological imprint. All talent existed to serve the will of the state. After a certain kind of education, everyone was shaped into the best and most obedient cattle and horses for the system. Through this series of measures, Qin was transformed into a state where the central authority controlled everything, all national resources, and every citizen existed to serve the central government. The ruler as ideals became the goals of all the people. Once this great machine began to operate, it swept away all its opponents. In RRE BC, Qin Shi Huang unified the 6 states and established China as first centralized empire. History has not forgotten the price paid for this achievement. Yet only 15 years later, the Qin dynasty was overthrown. The people had suffered under harsh laws for too long. Tyranny finally sparked rebellion. But did the Qin system end there? It did not. The founders of the Han Dynasty spoke of the way of Huanglao and ruling with virtue, but in practice, they preserved the basic framework of the Qin system. Emperor Wu of Han adopted Gong Shuangxu as proposal to dismiss the 100 schools and honor only Confucianism on the surface. Legalism in essence setting the standard model for all later Chinese dynasties. Outwardly, they preached benevolence, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and faith, teaching people to be good. But behind the scenes, they continued to strengthen legal control, household registration, taxation, and conscription, binding the people ever more tightly into the state machinery. This combination of morality plus power became the classic formula for imperial rule throughout Chinese history. So as modern individuals, have we truly left behind this feudal system of governance? Even today, does centralized power remain dominant? Are economic resources still concentrated under the control of authority? Does a utilitarian, results-driven social value system make you feel suffocated? Is the path of social mobility for ordinary people still dependent on obedience and compliance? Are we meant to become mere cogs in the vast machinery of the state, contributing to collective prosperity and national strength at the cost of losing our personal will? Or can we choose to be thoughtful, independent modern citizens, striving to build our own lives and realize our individual dreams? This is the very question we aim to raise in this episode. The ghost of the Qin system may not have faded away, it might still lurk in every corner of your daily life. What do you think about today's ruling class amassing wealth through policies and power, or interfering with university education? Do you accept a social order where efficiency comes first? Would you rather be just a part of the state machine, or someone who owns their own thoughts and freedom? Feel free to share your views in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. In the next episode, we'll continue to uncover the truth behind Chinese history. History is not just about the past, it might hold the answers to your life today.